Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 15th of November. So firstly, let's have a look at the news. There has been speakers from the Bank of Japan, and they're just going to carry on as normal in reference to quantitative easing and anything else they need to ease. They're not worried about a weak yen, so business as usual there then. Okay, so today's news wise, well, we've already had the Chinese retail sales came out really quite better than expected there at 4.9. This afternoon we got in the US, we've got the Empire State Manufacturing Index, so that's it. Nothing much today. There are a few during the week. We've got some inflation numbers, so we've got some numbers out there, not so big that the markets will be sitting there holding their breath for most of the day, hopefully anyway. So that's where we're sitting there with the calendar for today, or the risk events as I like to call them. Anyway, technically then, let's have a look at what happened. Well, Friday was talk about damp squib. I think after the previous days it had run out of momentum, and well, it certainly has, and it's left us a little bit flattish here at the moment. We do have a weekly pivot if it does start running up post 8 o'clock with 7 minutes to go. If we was to see the market move up there, it could be a nice point to be selling off. I'm really looking for a retracement to sell into this, ideally this morning, if it gets back there, but for it to even get back that far may be a bit of a difficult thing at the moment. Alternatively, I guess you could be drawing straight lines across there and taking breakouts. It's not ideal from where it's sitting at the moment, but it's a bit flat, in other words. The sentiment remains. I had a look over the weekend of the sentiment from the bigger traders remains very weak, and it continues to get weak during the week. So there we are. Sentiment's weak. It's technically weak. It's fundamentally weak. Well, we'll see what happens, but there we are for now. Patience game for this morning for the euro. The pound, little bit more movement on Friday. It's sort of almost did a reversal, almost did a key reversal. Bullish bar in terms of the bodies there, but well, we're going to get a follow through today. We may do. We're not that far away from the weekly pivot there, and this may be a nice little combination to watch for as we run through. If we can get up into that weekly pivot and start breaking down, might be a nicer combination. Again, sentiment there is pretty weak, so what we've seen here, maybe we'll get a bit more of a continuation to the downside at some stage. Yeah, there's nothing much to add there. Dollar yen, whoops, nearly clicked too many buttons here. Dollar yen, as I said, that the Bank of Japan are willing to carry on with whatever they need to do to provide liquidity and movement in these markets, but well, it's stalled at the moment. It's not getting particularly weak on that news because it's no news. They often go this way, and well, we could as the London markets come into a bit more movement coming through, see the dollar, this dollar yen, remember, we could see the dollar gaining more against the yen. Would like to see there's a weekly pivot just below there with a 50 MA 34 curling up. It'd be nice for the market to have come down, or the price to come down to that sort of area, and then start rolling around. We'll see how this develops this morning, but again, bit of patience, a lot of patience needed. On Friday, there's no real difference here. Aussie dollar, bullish engulfing body of the candle here, looking quite solid. Not quite a key reversal or anything, but looking quite solid at the moment. Now the Aussie dollar's been a bit more, as more positivity coming through. Sentiment from the big money is more positive, or should say less negative on the Aussie dollar. So to bear that in mind, short positions being unwound as opposed to lots of new long positions. However, there we are. It's the sentiment's moving back that way. Could this just be a bear flag? Of course it could. We could watch out for this price action that we're seeing at the moment. You could say, oops, badly drawn flag, but there we are. You see, you can see the flag. If it starts breaking down, well, maybe there's an opportunity there, but I prefer the upside at the moment on the Aussie. So that might all change as we go through this week. We have got something more coming out this week for the Aussie, so but for now, looking quite bullish and quite a way away from its daily pivot there as well. Canadian dollar, another one. Well, this should be doing better than it is. Looks like we're on the beginning of a turn there at this stage, this early stage here. Again, the sentiment is quite bullish, but the obviously the chart's been quite bearish and looking bearish into last week. Into last week didn't help. Just got to wait for the Canadian dollar to turn around again. For me, it's fundamentally, etc. It's looking quite good. Technically, it's just gone out of sync at the moment, so we just leave it alone to let the US dollar do its thing. But we are seeing a bit of a turnaround here. It'd be interesting to see what it does if it gets down to that weekly pivot, bounce off that, might see even further upside on the Canadian dollar. We've just seen the strength in the US dollar is been the bigger thing here. Okay, New Zealand briefly then. So a bit like the Aussie, it's been sort of selling off. We're seeing the brakes put on into Friday, into a bit of a turnaround. Shorter time frames again, we've got weekly pivots not far away, and again you sort of got bear flaggy sort of looking, so we'll just see what happens. Patience either way. Too small a target for that, although it's got a good probability of hitting that weekly pivot, bit of a small target for that, and as we run it in beyond 8 o'clock we might see it turn around anyway, but erring on the bullish side with these commodity currencies, but the big flags are still there. Right, okay, let's have a look at the commodities. We'll start off looking at gold here. Well, gold had a good week last week, certainly in the earlier part there, and then just stalled, and it's stalled a bit, but it's stalled above the prior highs there. I put that horrible coloured previous highs there. If it was to come back, it might to that level, it might provide a bit of value in terms of opportunity to buy. It's got the weekly pivot sitting below there. That may provide another alternative. There is a bit of divergence running across from these more recent highs here, just to be aware of, so you may want to be stepping carefully if you're looking into that. Daily wise, all over the daily pivot at the moment. Bullish engulfing candle there on the short time frame. May see a continuation from there. Okay, oil. So oil continues the slide down at the moment. It's not particularly big bars or anything like this. Often you see really big bars following a slip, but or a change in direction. It's steady. It's coming off slowly. I'm not convinced massively either way. It was a slow old move on Friday, and for large amount of the time, it was just sort of trickling down. Did pick up in the afternoon a little bit there, but really it's got lower highs, lower lows running through the bigger picture here, and as I say, looking a bit soft. If it was to get a bit of a zip in step this morning, maybe it will run up to towards that weekly pivot, but it's at an area where, as I said on Friday, I'm not overly sure which way I want to be on it at this stage, in which case I stay out of it. Right, okay, moving through, let's have a look. What time is it? 8:01. We can look at the, well, actually, we've got Bitcoin all lined up here. So Bitcoin over the weekend, more positivity. This could well be running back for the attempt to break the highs again, just pulling off again this morning. But the weekend was quite good to it. Ethereum, not so good. Maybe a bit profit taking coming out, but picking up this morning. So at the moment, still quite bullish on these two, still looking fine. Ripple, so no surprise there, quite a weekend, but picking up again this morning, and it may be that Ripple eventually runs up there and catches through, charges back towards that 1400 area, 1.4 area. Right, switch across the indices as they're open now. We can let's have a look what happened overnight. The Hong Kong market still erring on the bearish side. I'm still looking at that on the bearish side as well. Positive moves up on Friday there. Eventually a gap, some pushing up. Well, had a positive day today, closing up higher than it opened, but big gaps. I think we might, well, with a double top, might see this fill tomorrow. We'll see, but at the moment, the way it's going with the higher lows, but you've got to argue it's for the upside at the moment. FTSE's open this morning. It made new highs on Friday, then sold off. Got to wonder whether this is going to start slowing down a little bit more. We've got inflation out later in the week. It'll be a key test there. For now, just pulling off a little bit this morning. I opened down a tad, but still overall bullish market, as is the DAX here. Friday, very small days. Just getting to sort of losing some of the momentum. It may be we're just seeing some consolidation, but just losing a bit of momentum. And the CAC, which has had a fine old time of late, pushing up again now this morning. So European markets doing pretty well there. S&Ps, well, they've not started the day so well, but you just look how big that bar was on Friday, and again it's all looking a tad on the more bullish side of things. Nasdaq again looking more positive. The same sort of thing here right the way through. Dow Jones just struggling a little bit more at this moment, but these markets do look bullish, and no reason to be looking at any other way on them. Right, okay, that's pretty much it for me today. I wish you all a great day's trading, and I'll catch you later on. Bye for now. There we go. Right, just a reminder, ladies